Hello everybody, Mark Wiles is here. Today I'm gonna talk about the game Eternal Paradox and what I've learned during the first season as a free-to-play player. So first you need to understand two things. The first thing, the game flows in seasons. And after the season ends, there will be a reset that resets all of your resources, all of your building levels, mercenary levels, and so on. The only thing that doesn't reset is your mercenaries that you own. That means in the long term you need to aim to summon as many mercenaries as you can throughout the season, because they stay. Everything else resets. So the thing number 2, DPP, daily price points, I guess. So you earn them every day, and depending on this DPP, the amount of DPP, you will be ranked in top whatever million. And depending on your place, you will get a daily share of E-time, the game token. That's why it makes a lot of sense to earn DPP, and look what brings you a lot of DPP. And you can also go to the Discord of Gala Games and search for the game Eternal Paradox, because in the season 2 there will be a lot of changes. There will be more opportunities to get DPP. That's why I'm not going to talk about the ways to earn it right now, maybe in some next videos. Now we're going to tips. Tip number 1. Don't stress yourself if you didn't start on the first day of the season, because if few weeks are gone already, there will be people who will be much higher than you, the fortress level, mercenary levels, and it's going to be extremely difficult to compete with them. Don't stress yourself, learn the game slowly, try to understand how it works, and maybe make a little plan for the next season. Tip number 2, when you get mercenaries, choose a group of mercenaries, maybe 4 or 5 of them, that you will level up throughout the season. Of course, if you have some mercenaries that have a season buff, it makes sense to level up them if the buff is strong. By this I want to say that don't try to level up everybody to level 50, because I leveled up almost every mercenary in season 1 and I ended up having none of the mercenaries at level 50. I had 45 was my highest, I guess. That's why choose 4 or 5 that you will level up and stay with them. I say it once again, take a look if you have mercenaries that have a season buff. You can see it right here. So, if you have this kind of mercenaries, they are, in the first season, for example, they were extremely strong in the arena. Shane, he had just doubled his defense, like plus 100% buff to his defense. It was insane. It was an OP character in the first season. Watch out for season mercenaries. Tip number 3. I have to explain here a little bit. There are 2 types of summon in this game. Regular summon and pickup summon. At first I didn't understand how it works. Regular summon. You choose a tile and you summon in this tile. You have a certain chance of summoning a mercenary. The last tile is always a mercenary. Otherwise you will get just fragments. So, there is also a button on the top that you click and go to pickup summon. And at first I didn't understand what it means. On the bottom right, you can choose a mercenary that you want to summon. That means that when all of the tiles are full, you will summon this mercenary for sure, and maybe you will even summon him earlier. So pickup summon is this kind of summon that you aim for a certain mercenary. That's why take a look in your pickup summon what mercenaries are available, and if there is a season mercenary, you know what to do. Tip number 4. Use buffs when you go hunting. There is a sanctuary, and in this sanctuary there are buffs available like captain experience bonus or movement speed bonus or attack or defense bonus. Use them when you go hunting. It makes it much more efficient. Tip number 5. Don't try to be in the top every day, because it's very, very difficult. Save your resources for a couple of days and plan. For example, you want to get maximum DPP. So plan your upgrade of your fortress and plan your captain leveling up. Then in one day do this stuff and you will definitely land somewhere much higher than a normal day, because there is a lot of DPP given for Captain leveling up and Fortress leveling up. If you do this on one day, it's perfect. So tip number 6, challenges. There is a normal challenge that changes every 2 hours, and there is an extreme challenge that changes every 4 hours. Try to get every challenge. That's why I'm saying save your resources. Don't use them, don't have like 0 stones or 0 wheat. Save them and use them when the challenge is there. And sometimes there is even a thing that normal and extreme challenge are the same. There is even bonus like discount for this. That's why watch out for this kind of days. And if you're lucky, if you have enough stone, for example, and there is like enhanced mercenary equipment or something like this, you can get both challenges at the same time, and you can even try to get in the top. Because if you get in the first, second, or third place, there is pretty good rewards for this. Save your resources and use it wisely. Tip number 7. PvE challenges. This is what I've noticed too late in my first season, for example. I didn't know that there are pretty cool rewards if you complete this PvE challenges. You can get soldiers, you can get fragments, mercenary fragments, there are summon stones. So go there quite often and take a look if you can go further in this PvE challenges, because they are quite hard, I have to say. The tip number 8. It's quite obvious. There are daily missions, and for example in the season 1, for completing almost all of the daily missions, you got 3000 DPP. That was pretty huge, it was pretty easy, and it makes sense to do it every day. It's not so hard if you want to compete for E-time. Tip number 9. Soldiers will die. As sad as it may sound, soldiers will die, and you will have to produce. There is much more that I can say about the game, but I try to keep the video short and informative. That's why we are going to Arena. The tip number 1 for Arena is, I repeat it again, watch for season mercenaries. The mercenaries that get a season buff in Arena. It makes some of them OP. The next tip number 2 is a little bit counterintuitive. You need to attack your opponents in the arena on the bottom of the list. They have a much higher rating, and that's why when you defeat them, you get much more rating. You tell me, but they are much more difficult to defeat, and you're right. But there is one little thing. I don't know if they keep it for season 2, but in the season season 1, there was a thing. If you lose to the same opponent 3 times in a row, you don't lose rating anymore. That means when you attack an opponent with much higher rating than you lose maybe 4 or 5 of the rating. If you lose 3 times, you lose like 12, 15 rating. If you win him once, you get over 30 usually. Do the math yourself. That's how I was able to get in the top 80 at the end of the season. Although my mercenaries were not even close to the top, they were not even level 50. Think about it. Attack opponents on the bottom of the list. Lose 3 times if you cannot win them, but if you see that, for example, there is a chance that you can win if certain skill works out, do this. You will not regret it. And tip number 3 is very, very important. Watch closely, attention. Don't fight this kind of guys. Just don't do it. The next tip number 4, is also a bit hard to understand maybe, but buy summon stones for arena points. 50 arena points cost 1 summon stone, but again, all of the other resources like equipment and everything else will be reset at the end of the season. If you think long term, investing your arena points, or honor points I think they are called, in summon stones is probably the best decision. Unless you have 0 equipment, but in the long term, summon stones. Tip number 5. Legendary equipment is not always better than epic or even rare sometimes. If you know that a certain mercenary needs more speed or more attack or defense, and you have legendary equipment for HP, for example, and you have an epic equipment for defense, then probably it's smarter to choose defense, because like this you will make it much stronger. So don't always equip legendary stuff. Think wisely what a mercenary really needs and try to make this attribute as high as possible. So, and the last tip that I would like to say today is tip number 6. Some mercenaries were OP in season number 1, so I can talk only about season number 1. I don't know what will be in the season number 2, but I'm very sure there will be also this kind of opportunities in season number 2. For example, Zoe. It was an OP character in season number 1, and I think it will be also OP in season number 2. If you have high speed, if you attack first in the arena, Zoe has a 50% chance to freeze all enemies, each single enemy. That means you start the arena again, as I say, 3 loses, then you don't lose rating anymore. You start again until you freeze all of the guys and you kick them out. Simple. And another example of OP characters was Shane. Shane was much stronger because he had a season buff of 100% defense, and that made him just overpowered, because it is a strong character all in all, but it's leader skill what makes it so cool. He removes all of the debuffs on your allies after his action. This is crazy. I think there were more OP characters in the season number 1, but these are the mercenaries that I was able to summon as a free-to-play player, and this is just my experience. As I said, there is much more to say about this game, and in the best case scenario you would go to Discord and check out their Discord, because they have already updates for season 2 and you can plan already maybe something if you're an experienced player. If you're just a new player, then don't stress yourself. Tomorrow a new season starts, a new update. Play the game, enjoy the game. Hopefully my tips will be helpful. Let me know if you want more videos like this about Eternal Paradox. Subscribe to my channel. This is very, very important. Let's hit the 1,000 subscribers. Thank you, and see you in the next one.